If you're watching this, I'm willing to bet you've got a succulent or a little cactus sitting right there on your desk, soaking up the sun in a window, and honestly, caring for it feels like a really personal, quiet, maybe even solitary pursuit, doesn't it? But beneath the surface of that potting soil, there is an absolutely incredible, sprawling root system of human connection. In this explainer, we're going to map out the structure of the global succulent community. We're talking about a worldwide network that functions a lot like a giant, highly branched succulent tree, a mind map, if you will, that connects casual windowsill growers with elite botanists and completely transforms basic plant care into vital global conservation.
But before we look at the massive global picture, let's start with a very local, very common problem. Are you loving your cactus to death? We've all been there. Most cacti actually die from way too much care, specifically overwatering. The Cactus and Succulent Society of Massachusetts points out that these plants need very little care, and frankly, even less water. Novices tend to nurture them like tropical houseplants, and that literally leads to a rotting disaster. And this simple, super widespread mistake is exactly why these plant societies exist. They bridge that gap between you struggling alone with a dying plant and you tapping into a century of collective expert knowledge. So here is our map for today's explainer. 1. A global plant community. 2. Education and expert resources. 3. Shows, sales, and events. 4. Specialized plant societies. And 5. Conservation and protection. Let's jump right in.
Section 1. A global plant community. Connecting worldwide. We're going to start by revealing the deep roots of this network, because this isn't some new internet fad. From America to the UK to South Africa, these societies have been uniting hobbyists for nearly a century. Look at this timeline. The Cactus and Succulent Society of America, or the CSSA, has been connecting folks since 1929. Over in the UK, the Mammillaria Society kicked off in 1960. By 1963, the Succulent Society of South Africa was up and running. And the network just kept branching out. In 1987, the Texas Association of Cactus and Succulent Societies hosted their first major regional conference. There is a deeply rooted tradition here that was thriving way before online forums ever existed. And the way this community is structured is wonderfully tiered. Think of it exactly like that giant succulent tree mind map we just talked about. The CSSA is the massive trunk, providing international support. Then you've got these thick branches, like the Texas Association, an umbrella group housing 6 different clubs across cities like Austin and Dallas. And finally, you have the vibrant leaves, the local chapters, like the Central Arizona Cactus and Succulent Society, which meets monthly right in the Phoenix area. This structure means that literally no matter where you live, you can plug directly into the global network.
Which brings us to Section 2, Education and Expert Resources. Expert knowledge.
Okay, so you might be wondering, what's actually in it for me? What practical benefits do you get when you join one of these clubs? Well, you immediately unlock an absolute treasure trove of resources. We're talking comprehensive physical libraries that local clubs like the one in Central Arizona literally haul to their monthly meetings for members to use. You get access to exclusive seed depots to propagate rare plants ethically. At the national level, you get gorgeous, scientifically rich publications like the CSSA's Cactus and Succulent Journal or the South African Society's Aloe Journal. Plus, they host these incredible webinars. Imagine logging into here, top-tier experts decode the strange adaptations of mesums, those amazing living stones, or the leafless Stepelianthus of Madagascar. As the Massachusetts Society perfectly puts it, tapping into these specialized tools is the absolute best way to transition from a struggling beginner to a thriving expert. They note that the rare books in their lending library took years and significant funds to acquire. You simply cannot get this depth of specialized knowledge from a quick internet search. These societies curate the best information in the world and hand it directly to you.
Moving right along to Section 3, Shows, Sales, and Events. Community gatherings. Because eventually, reading isn't enough, right? You want to actually see these plants in person. The calendar is absolutely packed with chances to expand your collection and meet fellow growers. The CSSA events calendar is a total marvel. In just a short span, you might catch the Massachusetts Annual Festival, the Huntington Fall Plant Sale in San Marino, or the massive inner-city show and sale out in Arcadia, California. And these aren't just shopping trips, folks. They are judged exhibitions featuring spectacularly cultivated specimens that are literally decades old. And even on a smaller scale, almost every local club meeting features a silent auction where you can trade clippings, rare seeds, and totally unique hybrids with your neighbors. Let's dive into Section 4, Specialized Plant Societies. Hyper-focused passion. So once you master the basics, human curiosity naturally drives us to specialize. While general societies form the broad branches of our community tree, there's this whole amazing subculture of niche groups acting as highly specialized offshoots. A group like the CSSA covers the entire spectrum, sure. But what if you were absolutely captivated by jungle cacti that grow in tree branches and bloom with massive neon-colored flowers? Well, you'd join the Epiphyllum Society of America. They actually administer the international registry for those specific hybrids and provide incredibly targeted support for growers of orchid cacti.
Or take the UK-based Mammillaria Society. They were founded back in 1960 to study just one single genus, but their passion naturally bled over into an entire web of closely related plant families. They didn't stop at Mammillaria. They expanded to cover allied genera like Coryphantha, Phylocactus, and Turbinica pars. Because they hyperfocus, they can publish highly specific journals, maintain an annual seed list for their UK members, and host biannual shows that celebrate every minute detail of these incredible plants.
And that level of hyperfocus makes complete sense when you realize there are approximately 140 recognized species of Mammillaria alone. That's not even counting the subspecies and allied genera. These plants, hailing mostly from Mexico, the American Southwest, and the Caribbean, are incredibly diverse, and some are exceedingly rare. To truly understand, cultivate, and protect 140 different species of just one genus, you absolutely need a dedicated army of enthusiasts.
Which brings us to our final stop, Section 5, Conservation and Protection. Protecting habitats.
This is the highest, most vital calling of this entire network, protecting these remarkable plants out in the wild. Get this, there are roughly 10,000 succulent species worldwide, and astoundingly, nearly half of them originate in just one region, Southern Africa. It is a staggering concentration of biodiversity. From tiny stone-like lithopes to massive tree aloes, it's a global treasure chest of succulent life. But having such a dense, geographically isolated population makes these plants incredibly vulnerable. And the Succulent Society of South Africa warns us of a really dark reality here. The intense global demand for these plants, our demand, is directly fueling illegal poaching and devastating delicate ecosystems. It's a painful irony, right? The exact reason we want them on our windowsills is what endangers them in the wild. When poachers rip century-old plants from the earth to sell on the black market, they aren't just stealing a plant. They're destroying generations of genetic heritage and completely destabilizing entire microecosystems. And this is exactly why joining a society is so incredibly powerful. Through ethical seed propagation, strict collection guidelines, and funded research, these groups are actively fighting to save these species from extinction. The CSSA has an entire conservation committee dedicated to this. They fund research grants, they publish guides on ethical collecting, and they use their seed depots to ensure hobbyists can grow rare plants from cultivated seeds instead of buying poached ones. When you participate in this structured community, you become part of the root system fighting the black market. So what's your next step? Check out the affiliate map, find your local chapter, and transform your windowsill hobby into a meaningful act of global conservation. By stepping out of isolation and joining this incredible century-old network, you aren't just going to stop overwatering your cactus. You're going to connect with brilliant minds, gain access to amazing resources, and actually help ensure that these resilient, alien-looking marvels of nature survive for generations to come. So, I leave you with this. Are you ready to see just how deep the roots of this community really go?